morning, everybody. I'd like to call to order Public Health and Community Services, October 30th at 8:30. Could I get a roll call, please?
Hendricks. Krieger. Here. Van Hoff.
Present.
Sullivan.
Here.
Shorten.
Here.
Althoff.
Here.
Von Bergen.
Here. Okay, can I get a motion for the minutes from October 2nd?
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Althoff, Ms. Van Hoff. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion carries. Any public comment?
We have none?
We have
Let's
none.
call.
Okay. All right, moving forward to members' comments. Do any members have anything they'd like to share?
I'll remind everybody that Saturday at MCC is the Green Expo. So between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. So if you want to come visit, come visit. Many, many organizations will be represented. It's kind of our big environmental time. So come on down.
Do we do anything?
I'm talking for the foundation and the conservation district. I don't know if we are, so do we, does Public Health do anything?
Or
I don't
just
know.
the county in general for the green?
For the Green Expo, does Public Health do anything? Do you know?
Not familiar.
Oh.
I saw we have it on the treasurer's sign reminding people.
And also will tell you that, I don't know if you realize, but NAMI has a group of mental health trainers for first responders, and they did an excellent presentation on public health this week as well. So that was kind of nice. So it basically trains people how to recognize symptoms of some, beginning mental health issues. So.
I would also like to ask him to remind people about the finance committee meeting next week.
Let me remind you about the finance.
And I'm asking her to do it because she's on that committee
No, I'm
and she
not.
has this.
But I'm going to be there if you'll
Okay.
remember. No, but if
Okay.
you'll remember, Chairman Scala invited everyone to attend that meeting on Thursday morning, 8:30, because that's again when we'll be kind of reevaluating what was put in front of the public for the 30-day review, and this is the opportunity for all of us as well as the public to comment and let us know their thoughts, as well as if there's any additional amendments that we would like to consider. This is the time to do it.
Chairman Bueller will send an email to the full board tomorrow, noting among other things, a reminder to,
Okay.
they're welcome to come to finance committee.
Thank you.
Perfect. No new business? So we'll move on to the routine consent agenda. Are there any items anybody would like to pull for discussion?
I'm trying to be consistent. I failed on Tuesday, but anything with money, I'd like to pull simple 6.1 and 6.2.
So both of them? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, well then can I?
Then I'll make a motion to approve 6.1.
I'll second. And this
Roll
is,
call, please.
The workforce is here. Do you want to address that?
just real quick, if we can go to a real quick overview from.
Sure. Back at the beginning of the year, we received about $82,000 from the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity in the form of a rapid response grant to help serve dislocated workers. We were notified they had additional funds, so we said reserve it for us. So our application was approved pending all the paperwork going in, and Chairman Bueller's worked with us to get all that paperwork in. So we've asked you to accept those funds upon final approval from DCEO. So it'll take that grant from approximately $82,000 to approximately $105,000 that we can serve an additional 2 to 5 customers, helping them with training to get back into the workforce. So whenever DCEO has additional funds and they're offering them up, we ask for it. So.
Successfully, I might add too, so thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Any other discussion, questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I get a roll call, please?
Shorten.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Van Hoff.
Yes.
Krieger. Yes. Althoff.
Yes.
Von Bergen.
Yes.
And I'll do the same on 6.2, make a motion to approve the resolution.
Mr.
Second.
Shorten seconds. No discussion for the WIC breastfeeding.
Yeah.
Megan oversees the program. This is a grant-funded position, 100%, and it's just misclassified. So we worked with HR, and we're getting it into the right classification, which means a grade change.
And that obviously was in the resolution, but I'll ask the question so everybody knows. That actually is covered by the grant proceeds as well.
100% covered by the grant, yes. No impact on the general fund.
Okay, thank you.
Right, nothing?
Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, we will move to roll call, please.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Krieger. Yes. Van Palm.
Yes?
Shorten.
Yes.
Altough.
Yes.
Von Bergen.
Yes. All right. Any old business? No, seeing none. We'll move on to presentations. We have the Mental Health Board, which is going to give us an update on the 2026 awards. If you'd like to join us at the table right here.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Bridget Keenan, and I'm going to let the rest of them introduce themselves. We brought the whole team today, and I'll tell you why in a minute.
I'm Amanda Teachout. I'm the new Deputy Director.
Melanie Durant, Fiscal Operations Officer.
Carolyn Schofield, now officially the treasurer of the board.
And Connie Machini may show up here as well, our board president. So as you know, the Mental Health Board has gone through quite a few changes. We've been going through a lot. So this right here is the current leadership team. So we thought we'd bring all of us here so you could see us, see our faces, put names to faces, and of course, Carolyn's here as our board rep. So we've all been working well together, us and our board. And this last week, our board has put through, this in front of you, is our awards. So we, as a mental health board, and you guys please jump in at any point in time, we as a mental health board start our NOFA back in June, and it ends in July. And then, I'm not gonna go through the whole process, I guess. So we had $14 million between our annual funds and our opioid funds to allocate. And so that is the culmination of what you're seeing. So on this spreadsheet, you see the FY25 allocations, everything that was requested, and the amounts that were awarded. We did leave in, those were denied as well, so you can see everything that was done.
I want to correct your phrasing. We had over 14 million in requests. We did not have 14 million.
Apologies, yeah, see, this is why they're here. Yeah, thank you. Yes.
That's a big distinction, thank you.
It is, thank you. Yes, we awarded, yes. We awarded $10,296,810 in annual funds and $683 in opiate. Thank you, Mel. So, and that is what you're seeing here. This spreadsheet makes up the agencies, and under every agency are different programs that we fund. I don't know that we want to go through every agency and how we want to present, but we're here to show you the funding and see if you have any questions or comments or, yes?
Can I ask, how many actual applications did you receive, and then how many were awarded grant dollars?
We received, I want to say off the hand, 85 applications. But now that also, some of our applicants apply in both pools. So they'll apply in the annual dollars and in the opioid dollars. So it's kind of duplicative.
I shouldn't do it. It isn't organizations, it's programs.
It's programs.
So
Correct.
how many programs did you review, and how many ultimately were funded?
I don't have that number in front of me right now. I mean, that's.
I just
reviewed 85, and there were 7 that were not funded.
Right.
Okay, great,
Yeah,
thank you
yeah.
very much.
And the
Okay.
ones that were not funded are listed on that sheet as 0.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
And I'll just add, while I maybe prompting questions, that this year, you know, I'm really excited to have this team on board. They're doing a great job. It's, you know, they jumped, it's new as of like, well, obviously Bridget was involved in the process to begin with, but, you know, she kind of became executive director right when we were at the peak of doing the funding cycle, and the work that they did to get to this. Sorry, Connie is our president. So, you know, they do an extreme amount of work, as you know, anyone, as you guys know. But the process that they used this year was very pointed, very logical, and the feedback that we received was extremely positive. So this is the result. It was a much smoother process that had a formula specific to each, like overall, and then, you know, in reviewing each individual application as well. So it was, you know, credit to the hard work that they've done.
Can I ask another question? So can I ask, because we do this with most of our grants here, what's the process in ensuring that all the dollars that you actually grant are utilized? Did anybody not utilize the total amount of funds that were given? And were there extraordinary circumstances? Can you just kind of go through that?
So we have a monthly submission for request for payment. So they don't, very few of our grants are like lump sum. Those are usually more capital. So every month they submit an affidavit along with backup support showing the positions filled, the work performed, if we're paying by services, the number of services, the client served, the type of service, the link service, and all that is vetted monthly. And then we have a reconciliation process mid-year and end-year for grants and POPs where they match up expenses with the funds received, and any funds that weren't spent are returned. We do ask if a position's paid for and it's unfilled. They adjust their affidavit monthly so they're not being paid for that position. So there are times where it's, funding's returned or funding just isn't paid out. And then also where we might have lower fee-for-service utilization where they submit less claims than we gave them a pool of money for, so those funds are just never expended. So that's how we ensure that, you know, we're getting what we're paying for.
We also audit every agency each year, so we will visit and go through their records and make sure that it matches up with what they've submitted to us. And in that process too, sometimes we find recoupment is necessary.
Appreciate that explanation.
Yeah, not often, but
Every
it
once in a while.
happens, yeah, so.
And if I can add on to that, I think that you're aware of, so Lindsay's no longer the treasurer because she moved out, just to let you know. So I've taken on her role as treasurer officially as of the other night. But I think that she's come before you too and let you know that we have implemented a mid-year allocation process now. So those dollars that are recuperated or haven't been used, we can roll into a mid-year cycle of which we do kind of a mini allocation round. So anyone that may have a higher utilization rate in the beginning of the year, they can come back and actually request those extra dollars if they're anticipating that they'll be over on what they have been allocated. Or if something pops up, or if there's, you know, another, just whatever the circumstance, there is a mid-year. We did our first one last year. I think it was really successful and organized, and it made it a lot easier than coming, you know, every month. One may pop up, and it was kind of more a little bit of a random process. So that's very formalized. And I also wanted to point out that I think you've also seen our kind of 5-year plan on funding. So we are, this is right in line with where we have committed to be, that we're going to be doing flat funding for the next couple of years. But then as those dollars do become unutilized, we are able to roll that in and provide more services. So, and they've done a great job at finding areas of efficiencies within our administration and within programs we haven't utilized in the last year or two, and don't foresee in the future, and rolling that back into services as well. So we're running and right on course, which I think you guys have all been made aware of, but just wanted to reiterate those programs we have in place.
We have extra money if there's an emergency anywhere, like a furnace goes out or something in a not-for-profit, or there's extra money to fill in if somebody should need it. So,
Unallocated dollars, just for emergencies.
right.
So, Connie, are you referring to your reserves now when you said
I'm
that?
sorry, I can't hear you.
Are you referring to your reserves?
Yeah, the reserve.
Okay.
You know, that there is, we kept some money aside because there is emergencies at times.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's not so much
Yeah.
reserves. We
Right.
have a pool of we held back about $300,000 that we did not allocate in this initial cycle for those types of emergencies.
Right, properly reserved.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And then of those 7 that you did not fund, were those all programs that you had funded previously?
No.
No, okay.
And it
That's-
could be for various reasons. It could be, there is duplicative services, a lot of that. You know, if there already is an existing one that we fund, that could be a reason. Some are newer organizations that maybe haven't, I think we have 2 or 3 years or 5 years, I forget what they're supposed to be established. Some of them, we don't want to fully fund an agency, so for various reasons.
Some are very small asks with
Yeah.
very, like 1% of McHenry County that they would be covering, so,
Yeah.
yeah, everyone's just a little bit different,
Right.
so.
And then just one final question. With the opioid, money that you're getting, have you seen that? I mean, I know it fluctuates, right? But what's your feel on that for, you're getting more at certain times? I guess I'm trying to ask, is the need for that going down? Or do we still have an opioid crisis?
The need is not going down.
No, but I think that, we had kind of taken a look at that last year as well on finding that balance, because when it does fluctuate, we don't know necessarily what the future's going to hold. So what we've really tried to focus on is making the opioid funds for the crisis itself. So that's why we do keep some still in our regular allocations under our, the sales tax funding, because that's more the preventative and the crisis, or the services that will always be needed, and really focusing on, that crisis and using those dollars for that specific need, which I think is what it's intended for. So we did take a look at that last year, met with the state's attorney's office, and got a plan in place and how that would be utilized.
Yeah, because I know it's kind of a balancing act to fund these
Right.
programs where you don't know
What's
what
coming
kind.
in.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
I will say that we are preparing for our Ethics and Compliance Committee for next week, where we look at our outcomes, and so we've just finished our quarter 3 outcomes. And the agencies that are funded through the opioid settlement funds, they are at 100% capacity. Every one of them, 100% capacity.
Cool. Thank you.
And to piggyback on what Carolyn was saying, we don't want to fund, we want to be careful what we're funding in the opioid, like she was saying, so that when those run out, we don't leave all of those agencies completely dry. We need to figure out, we have to have a plan for that. We have to have a long-term plan.
So looking at both ends here, how are we doing with the revenue, the sales tax revenue coming in?
It's higher than we expected.
Okay, that's what I was
Right now,
hoping for,
I'm
right?
projecting 10.8 million, when we were thinking 10. So it's good.
Yeah,
We have a hand over there.
I can give you a little bit more meat on that bone.
Oh, he's got some.
So the fiscal year 2024 overlap, that's when the sales tax money was overlapping with the property tax, that yielded $4.065 million. So that was a good starting point. To date, for this fiscal year, the county's fiscal year, they have brought in $7.25 million. Now that's only 8 months of the fiscal year. That averages to $906,000 per month. So that puts us on track, I would say very conservatively at 10.65, but I think to the number, we're looking at about $10.8 to $10.9 million in that range for what we're going to yield this year. So on track with the property tax bill was.
Almost 11.
And we've kind of been conservative still, we haven't we haven't included that overage that we're anticipating into this allocation cycle, because we would like at least, 1 to 2 years of solid data before we really make any kind of decisions just straight from the plan that we have currently.
A couple of questions. I'll go first to the bottom of the second page, which breaks out the kind of the demographics of the funding. I see adults, small number, but then I see in the bottom 2, child and adolescent, transitional age, both include adults age 20-25. What's the difference between the 3?
Well, you want to answer that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, basically we have, like you can see, the adults 25, it's a program only for adults versus an all-age program.
Okay.
Most of our programs will cover all ages or a wider range of ages.
Okay.
So
That
there's
makes
just,
sense. Okay.
there's very few that are only child and adolescent, there's,
Gotcha.
very few that are just adult, like a lot of the substance abuse are only adult, whereas, somebody seeing psychiatry, will see all ages, family, so
Yeah.
forth.
So it's the way that we track our programs, so that's the way that we could pull those numbers
Yeah.
together,
Okay.
so.
So
each
basically, that's how,
agency sees those
yeah, the agency
clients.
reports what age groups they're serving, so that kind of.
Makes sense.
But I can
Okay.
see why that would be confusing.
And then, looking at the funding by disability type, intellectual and development disabilities was slightly less than 16%. Is that reflective of a no need in the community or reflective of service providers?
It's reflective of service providers in the requests we get for funding.
Right.
Okay. And is that something that's market-driven? It's a little bit of a soft spot for me. I had an uncle when I was, he's since passed, who had cerebral palsy, and my grandmother had him in a school that did remarkable things for him. So I'm just curious as to, and I did go to the open house he had, I think, back in 2022, and the loudest voices that I heard were parents of children or adult children who, didn't have services available.
Right. And agreed, and it is the biggest
capacity.
cost per client, which is not why it's not funded. It's a matter of having those providers come and request those dollars, getting the providers out here and get into those pool of dollars. So how are we going to draw them in and get them out here and do those services? So this year, really creative way that Clearbrook did it is they're adding on to an existing home rather than building an entire home. So they're adding capacity. So those are the types of things that I think that in that community we need to start looking for, is ways to add on. So yeah, it's not a matter of lack of need, it's a matter of trying to figure out how to get more providers into this community.
Thank you.
We brought out Clearbrook a few years ago, that
Right.
wasn't even at this county.
Yeah.
And we brought them out to McHenry County, which was real positive.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
do great things.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Does anybody have any questions? Great. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming in and giving us the presentation and the update, and this data is very helpful. But I'm glad to hear that you guys the new team is all working great together. And you guys are continuing to fund, a lot of really greatly needed programs in our community. Thank you.
And I'd like to add one more thing, is one thing that I know that we've been working on is collaborations. We met with Pete and Scott and Melissa, and we're looking at trying to find more collaborations, continuing the conversations. It's not that it's never done before, but we're really trying to find more collaboration within the county, not just the obvious departments, but the other departments too. So, we'll continue those conversations, we'll figure out how we can do that, we'll find the overlaps, we'll see where we can help each other out. So these ideas that we're going to keep going forward, so.
Yeah, and I would welcome, Pete and I have had the conversation too on how we can collaborate with the county. I think there's a lot of opportunities that we can even move further ahead in this relationship. So, if you have any thoughts or suggestions, I know that some of our board members,
Yep, sorry.
talk to Melissa. Those conversations, so, we've had other opportunities, so welcome to hear anything that you may have that you think the county can partner with us on and, share services or, so as you know, that's kind of been my thing all along, so, happy to bring it to the mental health board and, have Bridget on board to carry that now, so.
Yeah, one other good news is that we're now investing, you can give that update, that the mental health board is now investing funds with the treasurer, so. this
Yeah,
is good.
Melanie, if you want to, I don't know if you want to get an overview, yes, we just did
Yeah.
it the other day.
Yeah.
We did our first.
Got our account set up and the first transfer in, so hopefully we'll see good things from Donna. We're kind of being a little aggressive, putting $6 million in for investments and monitoring our cash to make sure we're covered, but we hope for some good returns from there.
We can give more out to the agencies if we can make more.
Yeah, and we had a plan, and then we took that pause, and the sales tax didn't come in and now we've kind of reinvigorated that plan and moved forward with it. So excited to see the outcomes of that. As well as wanted to point out, our grant writer too has we've invested as a board. It felt like, as long as we keep producing in the grant writer, we'll keep investing. So that's been really successful. I don't know if you guys want to share any of the successes. I mean, the county in particular has
Yeah.
They had that
benefited
big
from
source
it.
of push, yeah.
The court's got what, over $1 million or more than that? Yeah. So that grant came out of our grant writer. So we offer it to actually now anyone really in the community that's a provider. So yeah, hopefully we'll see some continued success with that because it's been exponential returns on that investment. So we will continue to do that.
Yeah, when we first started it, it was really being offered only to the funded agencies that did not have grant writers, and then the board was opening it up to others as well. And now we're seeing more of a connection where they're sharing information, the grant writer with the agencies that have grant writers, and they're working together. And again, really nice collaboration. So a lot of the agencies are definitely starting to take advantage of that. Some of the agencies are very specific, so it's hard for them to find grants. So this grant writer is great to help boost some much needed funds for them and other things that they're helping them to do as well. So yeah, it's been a great addition. So it's been a win. Yeah, a lot of positive forward motion.
Yes. So thank you. It's great to not have questions.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Are you really? Yeah. Work the room.
Okay, next up, we have a community investment plan.
Yes.
Thank you. Alrighty, I don't.
I'd like to first ask your,
Yeah, I kind of forget it's on. We have a retirement today. So Phil Musk, our plumbing inspector, after 11 plus years, is retiring. He's retiring tomorrow, but we'll be dressed in different garb tomorrow.
nice, okay, all right.
And
Great.
Do you have it planned out yet or not? Like what you're gonna wear tomorrow?
I wear the same bumblebee costume every year. No, it's. I think I probably need to upgrade. I'm getting negative feedback on it. Before I turn it over to Derek, I think it's important to lay some of the history or some of the foundation for what this community investment plan and tool is. About a little over a year ago, the Community Development Division had some changes, and Sarah Honens came in December. Derek, we brought in actually shortly before Sarah to help guide things. We have a 5-year consolidated plan was approved by the county board and HUD in August. That plan, we didn't have a plan to put that plan together a year ago today. These two individuals came in and really spearheaded that. Brandon Kiker, one of our senior community development specialists, also a lead staff member on it. And so as we were putting that together, we came across a whole lot of data and a couple of partners that really didn't have the same level of participation that we really hoped or wanted to, and those are the municipalities. Derek's background and expertise with municipalities helped build that bridge to not only get them involved and get some feedback from them, but then also to establish the community investment plan, which I'll turn it over to Derek here in a second to really detail how the county, how the department plans to use that as a tool, as a communication device, and then as an improvement mechanism. So.
Great.
Turn it over to Derek.
This is a very brief presentation, so don't, just because there's slides, don't worry about it. So I'm excited to be able to be here to introduce the Community Investment Plan to you all today as a planning tool for Department of Planning and Development for their future development of the next 5-year consolidated plan, which fortunately is 5 years from now, but also the annual plan that they put together for use of CDBG and home funding under HUD guidelines, and is a decision-making tool for the bodies of the county that make the decisions on how those expenditures are made or how those awards are made to applicants. So that's kind of the purpose of the Community Investment Plan. I'll talk about the nuts and bolts of it in a few minutes, but are you going to?
Yeah.
Adam forgot his job. All right, so just to add on to the background of kind of the why. So most of you, I know most of you in the room, but if you don't know me, so I have 26, I guess 27 years now of municipal government experience between 3 municipalities and actually 35 years of in total with a couple of counties and local governments. So that's actually directly relevant to how this came to be, so that I thought it was important just to kind of throw it out there or provide it as a background. So as Adam mentioned, in developing the 5-year consolidated plan, I was brought in initially to help drive the plan, the organization of the plan, since there had been some time since it had been completed. There were new players involved with it and participated in the actual development of the plan, but specifically to reach out and engage municipalities. Pete's heard me say this, and I'm going to say it again, Pete, so I'm sorry. But in my role as a city administrator, this is like a vulnerability statement, like I'm just being completely honest with you, and I own everything I'm going to say. As a city administrator, like I just wanted to be left alone. And when CDBG home funding applications came out, I'm like, we're not going to get any money anyway. It's a county thing, and so I either passed it on to somebody, or I really didn't like pay attention to the potential benefits that those types of things could have on the municipalities that I worked for. Plus, it's like, it's the county, just leave us alone. So, I mean, I'm just being honest about it. So I've completely changed. Pete knows that, hopefully, at this point.
However, in general, I really believe that that's how most city administrators deal or managers deal.
All right. So
but all honest,
again, so that is the reason that I was brought in to bang the drum during the development of the 5-year consolidated plan to help fill the gap of what the needs are at the municipal level. Because whether there's not-for-profits that are within municipalities or it's the municipalities themselves, the municipality plays a huge role, whether it's infrastructure or public service or service-oriented types of things, of knowing what the needs are of their local community, just like you all do for the county overall and the areas that you serve. And so really, my role in here was to reach out to municipalities through Shaylin. Shaylin played a huge role in it too, because she already has that relationship countywide of reaching out to village presidents and mayors, municipal administrators, and really trying to explain what the focus and the scope of the 5-year consolidated plan was and is. And to encourage their participation in completing stakeholder surveys. We had stakeholder and then community surveys that were a big component of gathering the data that ultimately ended up in the plan. We even went out, Sarah and Adam and I, we visited with municipalities face to face. We didn't just rely on phone calls or emails or the surveys. We followed up on those with on-site visits with either mayors or presidents or administrators to really dig into what the needs of communities were. I think we visited 14 or 15 of the 28 municipalities in the county, which I think was, for a first time go around, I think I would chalk that up to a success, that we were able to get those face-to-face meetings. And really, again, the goal was to truly identify and understand what the needs were as it relates to CDBG and home type of projects within municipalities. Go ahead, Ann. So, as a result of that process and the development of the 5-year consolidated plan, I thought in my municipal kind of planning type of mindset that most municipalities have, and counties have, long-term capital asset plans. And by long-term, I mean 5-year, 10-year, 20-year plans that deal with how to best plan to fund capital assets, whether it's in municipalities, those are streets, vehicles, equipment, those high cost items, and we actually spreadsheet those out. It's a separate document than our budget documents. It's a longer term planning document to kind of throw projects on the radar for what might be coming up over some period of time. So I said to Adam, wouldn't it be cool to develop a similar type of long-term snapshot with municipalities? Well, we've expanded that to include townships and other units of government, but started with municipalities to get that snapshot of what their CDBG and home-related needs are over some window, some period of time. They all have these things already. Municipalities have already planned them, they're already in documents. So it's really just engaging with them to get that information. We have it as a snapshot that we can review and then be proactive when it comes to annual funding or actual reaching out to municipalities when it comes this time of year when the CDBG and home applications go out and say, hey, we identified with your input, municipality, that you have these projects that are already kind of pre-qualified or pre-eligible for under CDBG and home guidelines. Wouldn't you like to fill out an application and submit it for potential funding? No promise of funding, but at least we know as the county that there are needs out there that the municipalities have already identified, and now we've been proactive with them, and we encourage them to submit applications then for those projects. Instead of releasing the applications and be like, all right, fill them out or don't fill them out. Right, and either Derek's gonna get it on his desk and just whatever, we're not gonna participate or fill it out, it's not worth the time, or, oh yeah, engage with the county, we have our list of projects, they're kind of pre-qualified based on location, and we're going to submit those projects for funding. So it was an opportunity to make, it's a document that, again, it's a more proactive approach to us as the county, knowing that there's knowing what the needs in the community are through the municipalities, and then encouraging municipalities to complete applications for funding, complete the applications for funding. So really the focus, because again, it's not just anything, there's specific criteria, right, and HUD guidelines for CDBG and home. That includes things like public infrastructure, public facility, economic development, workforce housing needs. These are all criteria and projects that we include in the 5-year consolidated plan and in our annual plan when we update it. So we specifically were looking for those types of projects from the municipalities. Go ahead, Adam, on your next one. And so what we did, first of all, was we go to the next slide real quick, because this is good. Yeah, so what we did is we worked with the county GIS, and we said, would you go into and develop maps for us, or GIS mapping for us, for every municipality in the county, and identify, because remember, CDBG and HUD funding is based on, or home funding is based on low mod income criteria, right? So that's kind of the primary criteria for where projects can take place at. So we said, develop a map for us for every single municipality in the county, and then the unincorporated areas also by township, and then the county overall. And just, we're going to give you the criteria. We want you to break it down by the highest level, the highest priority area is 77 to 86%, and then going down to our minimum criteria of low mod income for funding through HUD is 48.3%. So give us different colors. There's 4 levels of priority that are identified on there, and GIS was able to do that. I don't know what the right, what's the right name? Yeah. So they were able to do that for us and give us a separate snapshot for every municipality. This just happens to be Harvard. And so then when we reached out to Harvard specifically, we said, here's your low mod income map. We want you to focus on these areas. We actually gave them project submittal sheets. Submit your projects that are eligible under CDBG and home funding using that criteria. Submit whatever projects you may have in these areas. And so the municipalities then reviewed that, and then they were able to submit project scopes basically for us. Go back now to one screen. Yeah. So again, we identified those municipalities, we transmitted the scope, the project request forms, gathered and reviewed the submittals, then ultimately we created a CIP document that Adam will be able to share with this group. It's completed, but we didn't want to, I wanted to do this presentation before we got that to you. So again, once we did that, this is how it broke down. So the little table to the right basically is those areas that we identified as the highest priority level based on the low mod income criteria. Harvard, Wonder Lake were the municipalities, the townships, Chemung and McHenry. And I won't go down the whole list, but you can see how it broke out. So if there's not a municipality listed or a township listed here in this table, it's only because based on the information that we have, the low mod information that we have, they don't have low mod income areas that fall within those four levels of priority, okay? So in other words, if they submitted projects for HUD funding through CDBG and home HUD funding, they will automatically wouldn't be eligible because they wouldn't meet the minimum criteria for funding based on LMI, all right? So that's kind of how we focused in on the municipalities on sending the application forms and all that stuff. I'll go back now two screens, you can go forward, yeah. So, so that list that was up there were 17 of the 28 municipalities, I guess. You can argue whether it's 27 or 28, but municipalities in the county, 8 of the 17 that were eligible responded. We also reached out to townships. We identified through the process that let's send the information to townships also, because obviously they cover LMI areas that are outside of the municipal boundaries of local governments. And we didn't get responses from them yet, but I think that we'll be able to get responses from. There was some interest, just not responses from them. So I think it's a matter of spreading the word and gaining a better understanding of it. So what we did then is we took those 8 municipalities that responded, sent us actually project forms. Go on to the next page. Go one more, sorry. Sent us project request forms. So we sent them the blank form, they got back and they identified whether it was a CDBG or home project, what the name of the project was, gave us a project description, kind of a total cost for it, and then how long, basically, if they had the money today, how long it would take them to complete the project. So go back one now. So what I did, you're not going to be able to read this, but basically what we did is we took all those projects and sorted them by municipality. So up here, and color-coded them. So Harvard, Woodstock, Cary, Crystal Lake, Lake in the Hills, McHenry, Algonquin, Marengo, the municipalities, by funding type or request type, CDBG or home, by project category, project public infrastructure, facilities, economic development, workforce housing, what the actual project name is based on what they gave us, and funding time frame, the identification of the census tract and block that project falls in, the map that we showed you, so where it falls, so you can easily say, okay, it's in Harvard and it's within the census block, so I generally know in Harvard where it's at. Total project cost, and then just blocked in an ideal situation, you would have the actual dollar amounts for each year. But in this case, just as a starting point, we just blocked out. So if it was a project that will take 5 years, we blocked out 5 years. If it's a 1-year project, just a 1 year based on the way the municipality responded to us. So then, once you see the report, what it'll have is this spreadsheet will be first, and then the section after that will include the project descriptions for all these projects for Harvard, and then all the projects for Woodstock, the projects for Cary. So you'll be, this is the snapshot, and then you can look on the project spreadsheets or project sheets to see the detail for that project. Go ahead, Adam. One more, yeah, so.
You want a result?
No, go back to the results, that's cool. Yeah, you wanted me to talk about the money.
The money.
So the 8 municipality, and this is overwhelming, right? But I think what it shows is that there's need out there in low mod income areas within, at least in this case, municipalities, for, that there's if we had a $60 million, it would be great to drop it on municipalities to be able to help them with their low mod income projects. Obviously, we don't have that kind of money. But what this shows at least is what the need is within those low mod income areas for projects that are eligible under HUD funding. So it was 44 total projects totaling over $58 million. Those broke down as 24 public infrastructure. Examples of that are like a lot of municipalities submitted like the lead. You know, replacement of lead services is a huge thing coming up here. You know, with the next couple of years, I think the deadline for creating your inventory is the end of '27, and then you have to have a plan for how those are going to be replaced. And like every lead line, because we've looked at this in Marengo, like every lead line could be like $15,000. So who's responsible for that?
Can I ask?
Yes.
Can we, when we make the presentation or share the information with our constituents here in McHenry County, can we note good thing to do is to replace lead, obviously,
Yeah.
but that those deadlines and that expense has been handed down to us as something that's required by the state with absolutely no funding again?
Right.
I just think it's extraordinarily important to include all of that information when we have conversations with our constituents, that this isn't of our making.
Yeah.
This is required, and we're trying to work collaboratively to get the monies to these people to help.
Yeah, like other
Right.
unfunded mandates, right? And
Please.
this is one of those situations where, you know, look, I can only speak because I'm in Marengo right now, so it sounds self-serving, but that's what I know. This is the information I know. Like, it's even difficult for us to create the inventory of the lead lines, because, you know, we're knocking on doors, you know, do you have lead? Most residents, you know, for the most part, if you could have a cutoff year, or you could say, go look at this line, and if it's copper, you know, if it's, I mean, you could give them some description, but in most cases, it has to be us actually looking at that service to see whether it's lead or not. So that's very difficult.
And it's the same thing, I don't know if you do, but private water companies are doing the same thing right now. They have no data because there's been so many owners over the years,
Right.
so they're doing the same thing. They're going and knocking on doors, asking for access to see if it's lead or not.
And then we're complaining about the survey, and the whole other hammer to fall is the funding. So now we identify 100 lead services in a municipality at 15 grand a pop, you know, that it wasn't a problem we created, it's one that we're being handed to fix, so now who's gonna pay for it, you know? So and we're not gonna, you can't necessarily go to a residence, especially if it's a low mod income area, and say, oh, you gotta replace your $15,000 lead service by the end of 28, or whatever the deadline's gonna be to do it. So,
Can you go back to that one slide where you determined, it had the municipalities and you
Sure.
determined the area
Yeah.
of,
do you want the map, or do you want the
that
chart?
one more, I
Sure.
think.
That one?
That one, yeah. So I'm just really curious, I was looking at Hebron.
Yeah.
So you have it grouped by the ones that the need is higher.
Right,
Correct?
so they at least meet these at least meet the minimum criteria for HUD funding.
So why is that?
So if you go to the map, right, so when the GIS ran the map based on low mod income areas, this is Harvard, but for example, in Hebron, they would have had they would have only had this color in Hebron, in a specific area. They wouldn't have had, even, so again, I can use Marengo as the example.
Okay.
If this was Marengo and this was 20 and 23 right here, the only area in Marengo that has low mod income, this color is just this quadrant. So you would think that it would be more than that in some places, right?
I lived in Hebron for over 20 years, so.
But alternatively, so go back to that. Alternatively, like if I asked you, does Crystal Lake or Lake in the Hills have low mod income areas, you'd probably be like, nah, probably not.
Yeah.
But they do. So it's just weird how our perception of what areas may or may not have LMI exist or don't exist.
Okay.
Like this is data. It's not, obviously we just didn't draw lines. It's based on actual
yeah.
census.
I'm sorry, what are those quadrants? Are those township or precincts or?
Those are
These-
census tracts.
Yeah, census tracts,
Census
yeah,
tracts.
census tract, and blocks, yeah, it depends on how you, like, one's bigger and one narrows it in a little bit more, so. let's go back to results. Yeah. So it's 24 public infrastructure. I use lead lines as an example, but there's others. 16 public facility, 2 economic development, 1 housing redevelopment, and 1 workforce development project. And again, the descriptors of what those are in the project sheets, but we gave them the specific criteria, like right out of HUD, that talks about how a project is eligible under each of those criteria. So they couldn't just like come up with something out of the blue. It had to be within LMI areas and meeting the specific criteria of projects. So I already talked about, we arranged it by spreadsheet and project descriptions. Go ahead. What, one more. That's it. So the goal for this, I told you, was short. So here's the ultimate goal for this. That this is year 1 of this project, right? So it's something brand new as a planning tool. Adam and his staff now have the template for this to be able to, each year as the funding cycles comes up for CDBG and home funding, that before that, we can reach back out to municipalities, or they can reach back, or through Shailen reach out to municipalities and say, hey, it's that time of year again, we're coming up on the funding cycle, can you help us renew your project list that you already put together for us? We'll take a look at, or Adam's staff will take a look at those census tracts to make sure that they don't, how they've changed from year to year, if they do at all. Typically they don't, because they're only updated every 10 years or whatever. But at least have that list, reach out proactively to municipalities. Hey, let's update your projects, because some of those might have been taken care of already. Maybe there's new projects on the horizon. Give the municipalities a chance to update them. The spreadsheet then becomes updated, the project sheets become updated then, and then the whole document can be conveyed to the decision-making bodies here to help in that application process. So when those applications come in, or even ahead of time, why aren't we getting public infrastructure projects from municipalities? Adam can say, well, okay, we do have a list, let's reach back out and make sure that they don't have projects that could be submitted for funding as part of the process. So it's a proactive means for the county, specifically for Adam's staff, to be able to reach out to municipalities and get that information. I know that there's a push through our conversations with HUD, not mine specifically, but Adam and his staff, to focus on public infrastructure type projects, workforce housing projects, those types of things. So this is a way that we can know those projects earlier on.
So give background. How much money do we get for CDBG and home? Do we do it only for infrastructure, public improvement, or are there other applications, and what's the percentage division? I mean, make this, and by the way, thank you. I think it's a great tool, and I love things that are data-driven because you can go back and prove those things. But be practical. What's our overall amount of money that we get?
So we get just under 3.017 for home, for CDBG. And then we get about $400,000 for home, $600,000.
Oh, okay, and we have $58,000 in requests only from municipalities,
Right.
58 million. And we don't use every single dollar for that, do we, for CDBG? Are there other requests from other entities?
Not for public infrastructure.
So what's
but
the
there are-
percentage of that amount of money that we actually utilize for those kinds of projects?
Yeah, for public infrastructure,
Yeah.
I don't have that data right
Public,
now, but
yeah.
it's largely going to be service
Is it-
providers.
Yeah.
and-
Is it even 50% of the 3 million?
For public infrastructure?
Yeah.
We've been giving some pretty big awards to,
Which is where I'm going.
townships.
So
And-
tell me what's happened, because I know the philosophy of how you're doing the granting, because that's what we did at Senior Services too. So tell me how that philosophy has changed and what you're looking at now.
So we are looking at fully funding projects rather than, a
little bit here, a
hodgepodge
little bit
of
there.
giving
Yeah, I hate
everybody something. And that was kind of a
Yeah.
directive from HUD,
Yeah.
that, we actually have
impactful.
projects that do get completed, because a lot of these municipalities, townships, they may not have those additional funds to actually, that's great, we gave them, half of what they needed, but they don't have the other half.
Right.
Here's a this is kind of a whole nother part of your question. I don't even know how to say this. Adam will correct me right away, or Sarah. The way, what we put into our 5-year consolidated plan is what we get out of it. And so, if we only say that, if we only reflect in that 5-year plan that this is what the needs of McHenry County are, then that's what HUD's using to
Right.
evaluate and fund this, right? So that's been a whole conversation through all of that, is how accurate and comprehensive have we been in what we tell HUD the needs are in McHenry County, and how does that relate to the amount of funding that we get to them? Because if we only, again, this is no, service providers do awesome work in McHenry County, so this comment is no reflection on them. But if most of what goes into that plan are service provider needs and not infrastructure or workforce housing needs or whatever, then that's how we're going to be evaluating the level of funding that we're going to get. If we show that the need is way bigger than that for these types of projects, then maybe the potential is there to get more funding through HUD for those types of projects.
Or draw attention to the fact that there needs to be a new pool of money that's given for specifically something else. And we're sharing that with our legislators, right? Our US, okay.
So again, it's a starting point. This is year one. My goal would be, and I think Adam's is, moving forward, make sure this stays updated annually, which should be pretty easy to do. Again, it's just reaching out at this point. Like, I hounded city administrators through Shailen and mayor, like I hounded them to participate in this. And again, it's just so to stay on it and include townships and bring them into the fold, and other units of local government like park districts. I mean, they may have.
But can I look at you and stop you and tell you this?
Hey.
I mean, if I'm an administrator or a manager and you're not telling me what your end goal is,
Right.
I'm looking at this and saying, really? You have $3 million and I'm going to take an hour and a half to fill out an application process and maybe not get anything?
Well, thanks for teeing it up.
No, I mean, let's be, frank in this room when you're talking to the people who have to talk to other people. I get that frustration. So the end point here is data. We need to share information because we can't work together collaboratively unless we know what we're dealing with. And the other part is to use that in our conversations and advocating for McHenry County and what our needs are at a higher level, state or federal, whatever it is. I mean, that's important. So it's not just giving me the money. The overall importance is having that data that we can use to ask for more and explain what our situation is, right?
Right.
That's why we're asking them to participate.
Yes, and ultimately that rolls into the funding of projects, right?
There you
But if you can look at a project, if you can through this process say last year we fully funded, or whatever the case may be, these public infrastructure, these workforce housing projects for these municipalities, and this is why you should continue to participate, then fill out the forms. I can't do it for you. I mean, ultimately, the municipality or township or whoever has to be the one that submits it. But, right, it's a data tool, it's a planning tool, an engagement tool, and a decision-making tool.
It's great. It really is great.
So,
And I would go to the township supervisors meeting and talk about this, rather than trying to hit them all one-on-one. They've reconvened, and it seems to be taking off. There's much more participation. I would suggest that you ask to hit that. It'll save you time.
we got inquiries from quite a few of the townships, but I think, again, through email and just forms, trying to explain the process and goal.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
If you
too
went,
much. Yeah.
if you went and explained it, they'd all come and you'd hit them all at one time.
With most municipalities, especially the administrators, I could say, look, this is like a 5-year CIP or a 10-year CIP, and they're like, oh yeah, I understand what you want. And like,
Right.
It was pretty simple to get the information, so.
Just want to point out, our county coordinator, Shailen Daigle, has been opening up a dialogue with our township supervisors.
Sweet.
That's fairly recent, and she's getting some momentum on that, and I think she can certainly assist with these conversations.
Yeah, I can't understate the impact, that Shailen's connection already with other units of government had in this, because I used that connection to get this information out there, so that was extremely beneficial, yeah.
And that's where we're at right now, is we're in the NOFO process, so Shailen's got that information and will be distributed through her channel, so we're hoping to see some action on
Well, it's been fun, so thanks for the opportunity to help out with the consolidated plan and this kind of add-on project with the CIP. And hopefully it'll be, I know it will be a useful tool for you all moving forward, so thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Really, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Can we get a list of the names of the 17 that didn't respond?
Sure.
You don't have to go call them out in the meeting.
Let's do that. Let's
see. Hold on.
Yeah, they did not respond. Yeah,
Noted.
they were on the,
Okay.
I have a list of the township ones already.
yeah. And again, in some cases, and I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but, it's smaller municipalities that, if you're sending a note to the village president or the mayor or whatever, and there's not a day-to-day person that gets that, like, that may just be.
But that's my point too.
Right.
If I know what the figures are, why am I going to give you any time whatsoever in my extraordinarily busy day of doing, real things to help real people if I don't know what the end goal is? And it's not necessarily just the money, right?
And
What's the value in it?
And when did the request go out?
We started in June, and then I extended it a couple of times through the end of August, I believe, the deadline, and then we followed up with.
You had an election since then, right?
Yeah, I probably sent 2 or 3 reminder emails after the initial request went out. I made some calls to people too, so.
So townships, was Nunda included on that? Because they weren't on the list.
Yes, so all townships got the information at some point.
I'm the supervisor of Nunda, so I'm guilty.
Oh, all right.
Did you get on
Not
there,
yet.
Lisa?
I didn't call you out.
No, you can't, no, to Pam's point, and I'm not
What's the value?
throwing up a defense, but in my particular case, I'm trying to run an office without any staff,
I
so.
know.
Is there any incentivized first come, first serve, regardless of where you fall in that priority?
No.
No, they would
No.
be, the applications would come in, get vetted, and then be presented and discussed by the CDHG
That's a
Commission.
good idea.
Yeah.
It would be, a competitive process. They may have to come in and do a presentation
I know
to the
Rob
commission
had
and
one.
have it deliberated, have
I don't know
deliberation.
where we want.
So I know there are deadlines, so if, isn't there like a November deadline for
December.
December.
December?
Yeah.
So,
December.
so there is still time for applications.
Yeah,
That's-
Yeah, we're pushing it.
Okay,
We're
cool.
pushing it.
Yeah, my deadline was just for this document,
Mhm.
which will make sure we get to you. The application for the actual funding deadline is different. so.
Mhm.
But just to
time-
repeat
timing
back,
works out well.
the more applicants, you show a greater need, which could increase funding.
There's never a
Potentially.
guarantee, but
Right.
these guys can use it in their pitch to HUD about funding.
It certainly helps when we reach out to them and discuss it. There's enough data that's changed within the consolidated plan this go-around that's demonstrated our previous plan was potentially, I don't want to say flawed, but it just has different numbers. In addition to that, we've changed some of the structure of the number of goals that we've had. Our goal list before was 19, I want to say, and we didn't get to every one of them. You just physically couldn't. We have 7 now, if I'm not mistaken. And the idea, these are big ticket items. We're talking about workforce housing and public infrastructure. And it's, our intention is to be impactful with the money that we get. And I think CDHG's got that message pretty clear too. So we're excited for this round. Will it be perfect year 1? Probably. But at the risk that it's not year 2, year 3, it'll constantly be improved.
Do you, when you apply to HUD for funding, do you know, I don't know if this is realistic or not, but do you know, if you put in $50 million of requests, that you'll get roughly 5% of that request or 10% of that request, or is it literally project by project?
They keep that entitlement formula very close to the vest.
It's been pretty stagnant, we've gotten the same
It's been
amount
remarkably
for,
stagnant, yeah, since the Olympics were in Atlanta.
Yeah.
We've gotten the
Yeah.
same exact $1.4 million.
What was that,
I think it was
92?
96. Yeah, 96.
All right. So since I was 6.
1.37 or something. So, yeah, it's bizarre. And we're trying to make some noise, but certainly at the federal level, they have a few other distractions in the HUD offices, so it's.
It does being Illinois, you know.
But I guess the way to look at it is
Doesn't
like,
help.
we're not gonna allow the mistake or the shortfall to be on our end moving forward. And that's how this kind of comp plan has changed. Like, don't say that we didn't give you what the needs are, or that this is a plan truly reflective of the needs of McHenry County, because it's probably the most reflective plan that we've ever had, based on the ones I've looked at. So the shortfall is not gonna be on our end, it's gonna be on whoever's making the decision about funding.
Understood. I just wasn't sure if it was like, if you increase the request by 10 million, if you can expect to get 10% of that or not.
I wish.
Make a case for it.
We'll try. This is some effort towards trying that. Yeah.
And to kind of complement what Derek has been doing with the townships and municipalities, I handle the no-go process, and so I release it on Facebook, our social media, the county's website, community development specifically, our website, sending out to all of our email blasts and people that have subscribed to that. And so I actually asked this year, which was new, for letters of intent. We called them project briefs. And so I was kind of curious to see what the ask request would be and the volume of applications would be for this year as compared to prior years. And so actually at CDHD, we kind of talked about these numbers already. And so already right now, we have about 5.2 million in requests for CDBG with a 1.3 allocation that we have. And for home funding, we're at about 2 million already, and we only have about 600,000.
And how did that compare to like last year?
It keeps going up. And that's what's not even with
The request.
Yeah. And this isn't even with townships or municipalities applying.
Okay.
Some have submitted project briefs, but definitely not all.
So it's hard to get your head around why our funding hasn't gone up when the need is certainly there.
Could I request from you the map that you had for Harbor for Island Lake? Or
We-
can we
yes.
all, have specific to our districts or?
100%.
Yeah, we can get,
Yeah.
you can get it, not me.
Okay.
Yeah, we have that. This is more of a demonstration. Harbor, it's a pretty good layout in terms of all the different priority levels and areas, and yeah, we've got all those compiled. Yeah. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Sarah
Thank you.
and Brandon, for
Yes.
all of your hard work in getting everything organized and keeping the committee kind of on track there.
More you know.
Yes, yes. Okay, reports. Do we have any reports?
Oh, yeah, we're gonna mention that. Adam, you wanna mention that? We're gonna wrap
Oh,
up.
yeah, so.
This came up a little late in the game to get on the agenda, formal resolution, but we are gonna bring it to finance next week.
We are going to bring it to finance, yeah, so, sorry, switching gears in my head here for a second. Our Let's Save Homes program, a grant that we've had, it's actually our second round of this grant. We've had some activity, but to be perfectly frank, over the last 3 quarters of monitoring with HUD, we haven't hit the same benchmark. We haven't hit our benchmarks. And so our status has gone to what they classify it, it's a red designation. So we've been in discussions with them about lowering those benchmarks and trying to get more homes into the program and getting more activity. But the community interest just isn't there. And there's a lack of confidence, there's a strong confidence that we won't, say it that way, that we won't be able to achieve these.
Back up a little bit, so we've got federal money.
Yes, it's a federal
money,
grant.
and federal measures of hitting productivity, we're not hitting them, and they're gonna take our money back.
Before they take it back.
Before they take it back.
Before they take it back and designate us as a high-risk grantee. And when I say us, it's not just this program or community development. The information that we've gotten from HUD is that it would be a McHenry County grant to high-risk designee. So we've selected the option to return those funds and consolidate, dissolve the program, and consolidate, dissolve that position that's associated with it. So we will be bringing a resolution forward. It was critical that we moved on this quickly within the month of October to give them notice. We got confirmation from HUD that yes, we received it. We won't get into that quarter 4 and get to that high risk designation point, at least from the information we know right now. But that resolution will come forward in finance with a little bit more information, but I wanted to at least put that out there for this commission as our committee as this program came through.
I think this is just in the interest of protecting all of our other programs that we return this one. I had the conversation with Chairman Bueller on Monday, who was 100% supportive of Adam and Sarah's recommendation. They've had a conversation. We have one staff member tied to this. That person will be leaving the organization. That's difficult, but it's also a very responsible thing to do.
Yes. All right. Any questions now or later? Feel free. Thank you. Thank you.
I have one more thing.
Okay.
Your next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday,
Day before
26th,
Thanksgiving.
the day before Thanksgiving. That would be tempting to cancel, but I don't think we can cancel it because we're going to have to do interviews for mental health board. We have 2 important appointments to do. The portal is opening tomorrow, Monday? Yeah. So if we can't get a quorum, or if you decide otherwise, we're going to need to reschedule that meeting or go ahead and meet the day before Thanksgiving. So if you know you're not going to be available, please let Kathy know. Otherwise, at least do those 2 interviews.
Okay. Future topics. We've got a lot going on. Is there anything that anybody would like to see for future discussions? Okay, seeing none, no need for executive session. Could I get a motion to adjourn? Mr. Hendricks and Mr. Sullivan, thank you. All those in favor?